Hey everybody, welcome back to the stream. It's Friday. Woo woo woo. So you know what that means? It means it's time for functional home fitness, the day when we do weight training using stuff that you can find around your house. Oh man, and I hope everybody's had a good week. Happy to be here, depending on how much meaning the end of a work week has right now. Whether it be residual, like, oh yeah, I remember Fridays are a happy time, or it still does feel like it has meaning and does allow you to go into a couple of days of relaxation and rest, which we all need to do more of. Looking at you, person on the stream. I am very excited because I finally this morning ordered my first pair of new glasses with my new prescription. I won't have them for a week, so I'm still, wearing the glued together frames, but the light at the end of the tunnel, I can see it. The end is in sight. I just have to make it through a week, and I will have brand new glasses that don't want to fall off my face at the drop of a hat, and aren't held together by glue. I really think that that's pretty much the main thing right there. So as you can imagine, if you've been following this channel for a while and listening to me complain about my glasses for a while, I am very pleased with this outcome. So pleased, in fact, that I think tonight, after we're done with our streaming, I'm going to make myself some chocolate chip cookies, because I'm trying this thing. So I don't talk a lot about food on this channel. It's not my focus point as a trainer. I am not a licensed or registered dietitian in any way, or a nutritionist, and so I don't want to be giving advice on these topics, because I don't actually know anything about them. Hey Steve, hi. And two, because I feel like the fitness industry in general has a huge problem with focusing on weight as a metric of success, specifically on losing weight, and frequently food comes into that. And as someone who's worked in eating disorders clinics at various points in my life, and is a human in America, the last thing that I have any intention of doing is contributing to the really terrible disordered relationship that many of us have with food. So I try not to talk about it a lot, but I'm just going to give you my quick spiel on my approach. I don't diet. I don't worry about cutting things entirely out of my life, cutting entire food groups out of my life. I try to eat the number of calories that make sense for my lifestyle, which is obviously a relatively active lifestyle, but I am not over here cutting carbs or anything like that out of my life. No. So tonight I'm gonna make cookies for myself, because one of the things that I am trying out, to be healthier overall, I'm trying out, whenever I have a craving for a junk food, I'm trying to go, instead of going, oh, I should go get some of that, I'm trying to go, okay, I should make that for myself. And it serves the double purpose of, probably being a little bit healthier, or at least not having quite so many, preservatives and unhealthy ingredients in it. And also just, it provides a natural barrier to eating too much junk food. So, instead of like buying a bag of popcorn every day, I'll make popcorn for myself like once a week, and it's a little bit healthier because I make it with olive oil, and it's very delicious, and it sort of scratches that like chip popcorn itch. So I'm trying it out with cookies today, and just trying to get better in general about cooking for myself. If this quarantine has taught us anything, it's that many of us have moved away from being able to cook for ourselves, and it can be a really satisfying activity, and it is a way to be a little more connected to what you are eating in a way that's healthier. Like you're still consuming the thing, but now you're more connected to what's going into it, and thus what's going into you, and you know, that kind of a thing. So we'll see. Hopefully, if they turn out deliciously, you may see pictures of cookies on my Instagram. Who knows? And if they don't, you know, we'll just pretend that this never happened. Oh my gosh. All right, my loves. It's 6:03, so I would say it's time to get going with our pre-class checklist. So let's start. We got our water bottles. It is, what degree? Nope, that's the song I was listening to. Okay, it's not quite 90 degrees today. Man, feels so much better. Does not feel so much better. Either way, make sure you're hydrating. See that big gulp I just took? That means that I'm not hydrating enough today. So make sure you're hydrating. We got our comfy clothes on for ease of motion, whatever that means to you. Obviously, I love the like wave emoji for the water bottle. It's important. Steve, are you drinking enough water? She glared into the camera. We got our comfy clothes on. We got our mats set up. If you are using a fitness wearable, let us turn it on now. No, I said it's not 90 today, but it has been. It's 87 degrees. It's practically 90. Really, I'm just arguing semantics at this point. If you're using your fitness wearable, put it on some sort of a strength training setting today. We're not doing high intensity interval training, so strength training will probably capture this work a little more effectively. And since this is functional home fitness, make sure that you have various things that you can lift. I've got my laundry bottle, detergent bottle, which is my standby right now. I use it for many things. I've also got a couple of books over there. I have in the past used backpacks filled with, you know, that you can put things into and take them out of, and stock pots, etc., etc. Good. I'm proud of you. Good job, Steve. And a quick caveat for this class, we are doing weight training, but we are not doing weight training with usual free weights that have specific pounds or kilograms written on them. So we are not able to know exactly how much we are loading on ourselves. So, especially if this is your first time doing class, your first time sort of grabbing certain objects out to be your weightlifting objects, please, please, please err on the side of being more conservative with the amount of weight that you use. When you start out, we're going to be going through everything multiple times. So if you do your first set of something and you go, all right, I probably could have ramped the weight up a little bit on that, then that's fine. But the next time that we do it, you can you know, add another book or grab a heavier object or what have you. But make sure that you're not overloading yourself right off the bat. And also, please always remember that we generally have a weaker side and a stronger side. And particularly when you're loading yourself for free weights, you want to aim the amount of weight that you are lifting towards what your weaker side can manage, not what your stronger side can manage. You want to keep them even, but you don't want to be going for what your stronger side can do, because then your weaker side is going to be trying to keep up. It is more likely to adapt unhealthily to try and push that weight up in the air. That's how we injure ourselves. All right, that's how I got my shoulder injury. So, with all those caveats out of the way, let's do our warm-up, my friends. Hopefully you have your AC on. I definitely have mine on. I should have turned it on earlier, honestly. Oh, God. I was like, I feel something right next to my head. What is it? And it was, of course, the laundry detergent bottle that I'm using. All right. So, time for warm-up. We are on our backs, on our mats, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee. And we are about to do our hip rocks and bridges. So as soon as you hear that horn, hiya, we are off and away. This is, I'm rounding in on the end of my rest period. I don't know why I call it a rest week, because it's never as full of a rest week as I would actually recommend for you, because, I'm up here teaching and I have to do a degree of demonstration. That's obviously an important component of teaching these classes. So generally I'll do 2 weeks in a row of trying to limit the amount that I'm demonstrating so that I can at least go a little easier on my body and then come back to full force next week and see how it's feeling. But I think as I, keep glowing up the channel, that was glowing with a G, I think probably what I will do on the, all right, switch feet, my friends, on the weeks when I am doing a rest week, I will probably try and have pre-recorded videos of myself performing different exercises that you can use as your examples. And then I'll obviously still be streaming and on the stream and talking you through form and, lecturing you about the importance of voting, especially as the sitting president is apparently trying to dismantle the U.S. Postal Service. But I won't be, actually doing the activities alongside you, which would be better for a true rest week. So, but for now, we do what we need to do, and I do love getting to work out with you guys, All right, we're gonna roll onto our sides, start doing our best Jane Fonda impression. It's the thing, it's the thing that I think many of us struggle with when we're going into our rest weeks, is hopefully, if you've found an activity that you enjoy doing, then you like doing that activity. And, exercise, obviously, we like having as a pretty regularly scheduled part of our lives. And, so taking a week where we're like, okay, we are not going to do this activity that is really important to us and that we do fairly frequently, can be really scary. It can be scary if you're worrying about losing your ability or strength or what have you, which is ridiculous. Nobody's body starts to detrain after 1 week. All right, take that top foot, put it on the floor in front of that bottom knee, and start lifting that bottom leg. But, the other thing that I know can be something that people struggle with, and this is something I empathize with, is many of us have this fear that if we are trying to do something for ourselves and we're doing a great job, we're doing that thing on the schedule we want to be doing it on, it's a habit, it's a routine, awesome, we're feeling really good about it. A lot of us have anxiety about taking breaks from those routines or taking a pause from those routines because it can lead to being afraid that you're not going to start back up. I know that's something I worry about in other areas of my life, and it's a concern I've heard expressed by friends and loved ones and clients. All right, top foot behind that bottom knee, still lifting that bottom leg, and it's totally understandable. It's something that we all struggle with, and I don't have any brilliant tips for how to work through that, except to say that, hey, I'm always going to be here, So it's not like you take a rest week and suddenly the stream is gone the next week. Like, I'm still here, even if I was taking a break for some reason after you got back from your rest week. The YouTube channel is still there. It has the VODs for all of the streams, or it will. I mean, obviously not all of them, but for all of the streams since 2 weeks ago. And so all of those resources are still at your fingertips, and all of that discipline is still there, and you're absolutely not going to lose it, I promise. All right, switch over to your other side. So just be empathetic towards yourself, acknowledge if you are experiencing that fear and that's something that is playing into your concern about taking a rest week. Stop, acknowledge that for yourself, be kind to yourself. Don't try and, bully that feeling out of you, because that's not going to help. Just, acknowledge the feeling, and then see what you can do to move forward from it. And, just turning on the stream at the usual time can be a really helpful thing, because there's nothing that says you can't hang out on the stream even if you're taking rest week. Come hang out with us in the chat. And so you're keeping, at the very least, you're keeping that habit, that discipline of being here on the channel on a certain day at a certain time. You're like, okay, I've maintained that. The only thing that's different is I'm not doing class, but that's a one-time, a 1 week thing. And then next week I'll be back at it, So come hang out with us, even if you're not able to take class. Hang out, ask questions, have fun, enjoy the weird rambling lectures that I give throughout class. It really just is. I was downloading some of the VODs the other day, and just stopped to listen to one part of class, like midstream, I would say. And I was like, man, this really is just an excuse for me to talk about whatever's on my mind on that particular day. All right, top foot behind that bottom leg. Here is our last leg lift exercise before we start waking up our backs and our hips. So enjoy the nice chill stability. I bet that vent isn't open. That's probably why I don't feel any AC. Ugh, so annoying. All right, well, as soon as the scorpion twists start, I will demonstrate, and then I might take a moment to stand up and make sure that the appropriate vents are open and closed. To actually, it really is a marked difference. There's one vent in the living room, one vent in the bedroom, and if the one in the bedroom is open, this one is not as like, if they're both open at the same time, neither of them is as efficient as they are if you close the one in the room you're not using. All right, so we're rolling over onto our stomachs. We are planting our forearms, and we are doing our scorpion twists. All right, maybe I'll fix the AC once I stand up, because man, do I enjoy scorpion twists. It's just so nice to start waking up your back, twisting it out a little bit. We tend to keep our backs so stiff and straight during the day, whether you're, sitting in a chair the whole day or standing at a standing desk the whole day. Both of those positions are not really doing a lot to help stretch out and move around your back. We tend to have this automatic assumption that standing desks are automatically healthier, and really, as with many things, it comes down to a combination, moderation in both, All right, we're standing, we're holding our imaginary PVC pipe, we're doing our nice big torso rotations. Forgive me for 1 second while I check on the, yep, I knew it. Okay, there we go. Now maybe the AC will start actually coming out of the wall and cool down the living room, because, man, this apartment, I appreciate how well it holds its temperature. During the winter, I don't think I had to turn on the heat once last winter. In fact, it was more likely that I would have to open a window, because it is so good at holding heat. All right, we are doing our squats, still holding that pole over our heads, remembering to check in with our knees. We want them going straight over our feet at all points during the squat. So if you're coming up and your knees are caving in a little bit, maybe they are straight going down, but they start caving in, Narrow your stance a little bit. Really pay attention to your squat form right now, because we are going to have several squat-based exercises later today. So this is the time to start paying attention to how your squats are looking, how your knees are looking and feeling, and making sure that you've got all that prepped for yourself. And now we throw down our imaginary pipes and we start doing our Samson stretches, really sinking into those hips, really stretching out the hip flexor, the front of the hip flexor on the leg that's extending behind you. And, you know, take a second, exhale, try and sink a little more deeply into that lunge, okay? And then step back up to the front and go for the other side. Remember that we're keeping our hips pointing forward the whole time. So imagine that you have headlamps on your pelvic bones and they are pointing forward the whole time. They're not swiveling around as we extend that leg behind us. We're not opening the hips, anything like that, okay? Now coming down into our nice deep squat. Remember, knees still over the feet. Having your hands on your knees really helps that. And we're just twisting one shoulder in towards the midline and then the next. And just going back and forth and back and forth. And our shoulders are the only things moving, okay? So we are not bouncing up and down in this squat. We're not letting a knee chase after the shoulder as it comes in, okay? We are just moving those shoulders and holding this super deep squat position, okay? I still need a good name for this. I used to call it sumo squats, but I wanna find a better name for it. So if you have any ideas, either right now while we're doing jumping jacks or, you know, at any other point, please feel free to throw them into the chat. But right now, we've entered the cardio portion of our warm-up, so we're almost done, and we're still booting up. It's a warm-up. We're not here to be doing super intense, big jumping jacks. I'm keeping my elbows bent the whole time, just sort of tapping my fingers above my head. I'm not jumping my feet out very far before I jump them back in. This is all just to get your heart rate going a little bit faster, to get your breath coming a little bit faster, and just telling your body, giving your brain those final signals that, yes, here we are, we're working out, and that's what we're doing. All right, kick throughs. Remember all of our form notes for kick throughs, making sure that we've got a lot of stability in that shoulder, making sure we're not sinking down towards the floor, okay? We don't want the butt down here. We want it up here. We want that standing leg to be at a 90-degree angle, okay? Because if you're sinking down here and you try then to push yourself around to rotate to the other side, you're going to put some really unhealthy torque pressures on your knee and maybe set yourself up for an injury down the line, okay? So nice stability up here. Again, not letting the knee cave in, and then jumping through the center to the other side. Woo! Hey, we made it to burpees. And I've managed to not accidentally run myself into any of the weightlifting equipment that I have around my mat. So I'd say that's a win. I'd say that's a win, my friends. All right, remember, for our burpees, we're back in this plank, But then we do a wave push-up, okay, before we jump those feet forward. So we are not doing a pretty plank push-up for our burpees. No, no, no. I don't care if you really want to show off your plank push-ups. Nobody can see you anyway because we're all in our living rooms. So just a wave push-up, keeping your elbows in by your sides as you go down and up. Big victory clap. And then coming back and sitting down, because here we are, warmed up and ready to go. Oh yeah. All right, grab some water, my friends. Colorado has like 3 different wildfires going right now, which is sadly pretty par for the course for Colorado. Last year we had an unusually wet and rainy summer, which was great because I don't think we had, at least not that I was aware of, any major wildfires. But the last week we have definitely been dealing with a couple, and a new one just started. Thankfully, they're all, on the other side of the mountains from me, but it is incredibly disconcerting to see how far the smoke and ash travels. It comes right over the mountains, over to here. There's fire 4-hour drive away, where you have to go all the way through the mountains to the other side, and that smoke and ash is making its way over to Boulder. So, all about water. All about water, my friends. We needed to hydrate. We needed to hopefully, not burn down. So, yeah, just, send some good vibes to Colorado while we try to deal with our old friend, the wildfire. But for now, we are safely far away from any such fires, and we are going to do our weight training sequence. So it's going to be the same structure that we've done the last couple of weeks. So we will have 4 exercises, and we will be going through them a total of 4 times. And the structure is going to be that each exercise will get a 2-minute timer, and you will do the requisite number of reps. In this case, I'm going to say 20 to 30. I'm going to up the minimum a little bit, okay? So you have to get to at least 20 reps today. And you'll do your reps all in a row, not stopping, and then you will use the rest of that 2-minute timer as a rest timer. Rest, recuperate, grab water. When you hear knock, 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 that's when you get yourself in place to start the next exercise, and we'll just cycle through for the rest of class. So let's go over the exercises. So today, our first leg exercise is going to be goblet squats. I'm going to be doing it with the giant laundry detergent bottle. I would also recommend finding items that have evenly positioned handles on either side. So the stock pot can also be super useful for this. I was just a little too lazy and didn't want to get it down from way up there above my cupboard. But having something with those handles can be really useful. If you're doing something like this, where you have to hang on to it from either side, make sure you have a bit of your hand on the underside so that there's no danger of it slipping through your grasp. So we're just going to take a nice wide position, about shoulder width, I would say, holding the weight in front of us, and we're just going to squat down and stand up. Squat down and stand up. And we're just going to do that over and over again. In case you're interested, what I would do that exercise with in a gym would be a kettlebell, where you can hold both sides of the handle. Okay? Then we're gonna do hammer curls. I'm gonna use books for this because that's what I have that sort of best mimics holding a dumbbell. If you have a laundry detergent bottle with a side handle, if you have two of them, awesome, and they're both unopened, this is, again, where it starts to get a little funky when we're doing this at home, but fear not. If you have two laundry detergent bottles with side handles that are miraculously the same weight, awesome, go for that. If they're not the same weight or you only have one, then what you can do is just do one side for the first round through hammer curls, one side for the second, and just go back and forth. Or if you're using books, we're gonna hold them down at our sides. We've got our hands basically in a neutral position, so if I wasn't holding the books at all, my palms are just facing in. This is a neutral position, and I'm just gonna curl the books up and bring them down and up and down. So if you're doing two weights, that's how it's gonna look, okay? Then we're gonna do split squats, and this one is definitely going to be one that you're gonna do first one side and then the other. So I'm gonna have one foot forward that I'm standing on, the other foot behind. I'm just going to go down into a squat and up and down and up. I'm not trying to bring my knee all the way to the floor, okay? I'm bringing it to like an inch from the floor. And you're just going down and up and down and up. And then the next time we come through, just make sure you switch legs. So it's the other side, okay? And then our fourth exercise, we're gonna do dumbbell presses. And again, a couple ways to do this. If you've got books that work, you can do it as if you're really holding those dumbbells and just press up and down and up and down. If that doesn't feel like it's going to be enough weight for you, you can make a slight modification. You can hold something by the base, sort of in front of your head, and just push up and down. It's not quite the same exercise, but it is close enough for our purposes, okay? All right, so those are our exercises. We've got goblet squats, we've got hammer curls, split squats, and dumbbell presses. So I'm gonna get the timer going, and we're just gonna let it run, all righty? We're just gonna let it run for the rest of the time. So as soon as you hear it go, we're starting with goblet squats. All right, so remember, again, check on your squat form first. Make sure your core is engaged, okay? We're holding a lot of weight in front of us, and we don't want that weight to pull us over, all right? Obviously, your back goes a little bit forward, but I'm keeping it straight, and I'm keeping it stable with that core, all right? So core, I talk about it a lot. We love our cores. We love our cores, okay? They do so much work for us, and we really need to show them some love, okay? You want your feet at about shoulder width apart unless you have been struggling with your knees coming in, okay? So this is where working on our squat form during the warm-up comes back and helps us. So were you okay in the warm-up when you were just holding an imaginary pipe? Awesome. How about when you are holding something that is several pounds heavier and exists, okay? So check in on that form. Check in on your knees as you go down and up, okay? And if you are realizing that your knees are caving in towards each other, then narrow the stance a little bit, okay? Just narrow the stance a little bit. work on it from that narrower stance until you get to a place where your muscles have trained well enough that they're able to keep themselves in that good alignment. All right, knock, knock, knock. We're getting ready for our first run of hammer curls. All right, I'm gonna do these with my books, even though they're not super heavy, because again, I'm technically on my rest week. So again, I like the books because they better mimic what my hand position would be able to be if I was using dumbbells for this. But you know, you do want to make sure that they are books that are about the same weight. And some of that's going to be art, not science, obviously. But you know, I can look at these two and go, all right, they're about the same thickness, they're about the same width, so I can be pretty confident that these books are going to be equal enough for my purposes. Okay? If you are really concerned that you don't have two objects that are of that equal weight, again, just do one side at a time. So this time around, you can focus on your right side. And the next time we come through to this, you can focus on your left side. All right? So this is what I mean when I talk about being a little bit more conservative about your choices. You know, it's important for us to have the creativity and the open-mindedness to look around and go, okay, just because I can't make it to my favorite gym right now doesn't mean that I can't weight train. You can. You absolutely can. If you've ever picked up an item and gone, oh, well, I could do weightlifting with that, now's your chance. But, you know, things have weights on them for a reason. It's to make sure that you understand exactly how heavy the thing is going to be that you're picking up. And when we're not able to do that, we have to be a lot more careful. All right, now we're coming in to our split squats. So when you come down into the squat position, you don't want that front knee to be pushing too far forward over the toes, okay? You still want it behind or about level with the toes. So that may mean that your back leg has to go back a little bit farther than you expected it to go, okay? So hopefully you had a chance to sort of test out, but really, as you go down, check in, okay? Look down and be like, can I still see my front toes? Or are they completely obscured? And if they're completely obscured, you may need to shift to a wide enough stance that you don't have to push your knee forward like that, all right? So really pay attention to that. Also, make sure you remember which side you're doing right now, because you will have to do the opposite side when we come back around to this. Oh, I'm gonna grab some water, and I hope that you are too. One of the nice things about having these nice chunky rests is that we can make sure that we are hydrating well and we're really giving our muscles some time to recuperate from the fatigue of these sets. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Remember that we're making it to at least 20 reps for each one, okay? So that is upping our minimum from where it usually is for these sets. All right, coming around to those dumbbell presses. Get ready, get set. And, whoo. So I'm gonna do them with the books because it's rest week and also because my shoulder's feeling a little bit twingy right now and I wanna make sure that I'm honoring it. Honestly, you know, weight training, free weight training is definitely something that that is still newer to me in terms of my own fitness practice. You know, I have been a dancer since I was 5, and for years that has been my primary mode of exercise. You know, I did some team sports in elementary school, going into like 6th grade. You know, so I played on a basketball team in elementary school. I played on a soccer team, and that kind of stuff. But as soon as I got to the age at my school where I was able to use my dance classes to fulfill my PE requirements, I stopped all of those other activities and really just focused in on dance. And dance is, you know, body weight, obviously. And that remained my primary mode of exercise for years. And even when I started experimenting with other activities, you know, I started with like running, which also generally doesn't come with free weights and stuff like that. So it really has only been in the last 4 years or so that I have done stuff with free weights. It's a big change. All right, we're getting ready for round 2 of our goblet squats. Prepping, position, and starting on time. Hey, how's that core? Is that core re-engaged? Do you have part of your hand underneath the heavy thing that you are lifting so that it is not in danger of slipping through your grip and falling to the floor? That is real important, and I'm going to keep reminding you of that fact. All right. But yeah, so it really wasn't until I started doing classes in this style about 4 years ago that I started doing like free weight exercises on a more regular basis. And you know, I did not have a good grasp on the form right away because I wasn't used to an activity that had an external object that was so heavy, you know, and that had to be manipulated through space while really still making sure that I was stabilizing a lot of other parts of my body. And, you know, that's honestly where my shoulder injury came from. I'd had some chronic shoulder stuff for a while. It had come and gone, and I don't really know what caused it, but it wasn't a constant thing. But when I was doing a free weights class a few years ago, and I was doing a Turkish get-up, which requires you to hold a kettlebell in your hand above your head while moving through, you know, you start on the ground and you're holding it, and then you shift that knee back, you stand all the way up, and then you come all the way back down. Like, it's a very involved exercise. And I went for a weight that was way too heavy for my left side because, again, I was trying to push the weight to what my stronger side could do, not what my weaker side could do. And so I was setting myself up for an injury, and I got it. You know, I got it because I couldn't safely control that kettlebell above my head, and it wrenched in one direction. Now, I wasn't expecting it to go because I didn't have the stability in my shoulder socket, and, you know, here we are, and I still have, you know, chronic pain in my shoulder several years later. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why when we're doing a class like this, where, you know, we don't even know what the weight is of the objects we're using unless you're going around weighing on like a bathroom scale everything that you use for this class, which if you are, that's awesome and smart. Let me know if you are, because that might be a way to go, and that way you know what the weights are of things. But if you're not doing that, or you don't own a bathroom scale, then you really need to be honest with yourself when something is too heavy, okay? Be honest with yourself. It comes back to reading your body signals. and following them. And I talk about that all the time because we are all so bad at it. We are so bad at it. We're like, no, I gotta be able to muscle through. I gotta push through. And you know what? It's not doing anybody any good to have you pushing through and giving yourself an injury and then having to stop your exercise practice for a while because you're recuperating from an injury. You know, that's not helpful. And it doesn't actually get you stronger because now you got to recuperate and your body's going to detrain a little bit. And so really, at the end of the day, everybody loses in that scenario. So, you know, the more that you do this class, obviously, the more of an idea you will have about the relative weights of different objects around your house. And if you're using like a backpack or a stock pod, which we do frequently in this class, those are really great objects because we can load them, you know? Like a backpack on its own doesn't have a lot of weight to it, but I can fill it with books. And so I can start to get the feeling of, okay, well, if I throw my NSCA textbook in here, that's about the weight that I want for upright rows. But I can throw like maybe a volume of Sandman in there to make it a little heavier for my goblet squats, you know? And then we have this concept for everything that we're doing. And we just start to get a handle on, okay, this is what I should put in here to reach the weight that I feel like I'm at. The other thing to keep in mind, you know, I use this detergent bottle a ton, and it's great. I mean, that thing's gonna last forever, you know. I don't actually have to worry about it getting too light. But, you know, when you're using something where most of the weight comes from a filling that is going to be slowly drained away, like a detergent bottle, you need to keep that in mind. Keep in mind that the weight of that object is going to be changing and lightening, and it's good to have replacement objects that are more immutable in their weight. You know, these books, the weight of these books is never going to change. These books are going to be the same weight each time that I pick them up. This thing is going to get lighter and lighter depending on how much laundry I do. And I generally do laundry once a week and only one load. So as I said, it's going to be a while before I start noticing. But it's a thing to have in mind. And so figuring out what objects you can use as receptacles and load them with other objects that are not going to change weight, you know, that's going to be a way to get more consistency into the process. But something like a laundry detergent bottle is super useful too, because they have those handles, you know. And if there's one thing that I really miss about having actual gym equipment for a class like this, it's having things that are specifically designed for me to be able to hold them and manipulate them in these ways. You know, I can make do with my backpack, absolutely, but it is, at the end of the day, not perfectly designed for what I am trying to do. So I do love the detergent bottles, and you know, if you have one like this, as I said, it's going to take you a long time to get through it. Or if you get in the habit of always having two of the side handle bottles in your house, you know, one that you're actively using and one that you can use for class, then you have that as an option as well. Hey, my friends, guess what? we're halfway through. We're halfway through. We just started our third run through these exercises. So you're doing your goblet squats right now. Awesome, awesome, awesome. How are you feeling? All right. So we want to be checking in on our form. I know. It took me halfway through the timer before I finally talked to you about form. Crazy. But I want you to check in as you're doing goblet squats now. How is your form compared to the first time that we went through it? You know, are you finding certain aspects of the exercise harder? Is it a little harder to keep your core engaged for that torso stability? Are you struggling to manage the weight that you're holding in front of you? Are your knees trying a little bit harder to come together in the center? Okay? These are the things we want to notice. And honestly, they can tell us stuff about how we want to load in our later sets, you know? Because we're not changing the number of reps, or the range of reps that I'm asking of you. So, you know, maybe what you want to do next time, and this is all a learning process, but maybe what you want to do next time, again, even once you have a better handle on the weights of different objects and how effective they are for different activities, start lighter with your first couple of sets and then add a little bit of weight on for the later sets, you know, and add a little bit of that challenge on. And maybe in the first sets, you are able to do 25 reps with the lighter weight, and then you add some more weight on and you can only make it to 20. And that's fine. That's fine. You're still in the range that we're looking for. Just play around with this stuff. You know, I've talked to you about how as we are working to improve our performance, there are a lot of different factors that we can play around with our weight training to add a little more intensity, a little more challenge, and get ourselves, you know, reaching towards our goals. One of the things we can do, add more reps. So if you're, you know, if you have been sticking to 20 reps pretty consistently, next time we do class, challenge yourself to do 25 reps. Adding weight is another really obvious one. So maybe I stick with the 20 reps, but I, you know, add an additional book or use a heavier book. Trying to do more sets overall, not really an option for this class, but something for you to keep in mind when you're doing your own practice. If you are working on weightlifting at home, outside of this specific class, you know, think about how many sets you could add, you know, see about adding some sets or reducing the amount of rest time. You never want to reduce it down too much. I am a big believer in that. And as I have said, you know, we are all folks who are coming to this class because we want to have exercise as a component of a healthy life, right? So I am not going to ever be the person who's training elite athletes, training Olympians, you know, training sports teams. That's simply not where my interest lies. I want to be working with the folks who are like, you know, exercise is a really great thing to have in my life as something to keep me healthier, to keep me more mobile, to give me more energy, and I want to be able to do that. So, you know, we don't have to have super intense goals to move toward, and you can, you know, if that is your jam, awesome. I might not be the right trainer for you, but awesome. But yeah, so those are some of the things that you can do to move through and keep
increasing the challenge level for yourself. And particularly when we start to notice that we're hitting those plateau points, that is a good time to be like, okay, can I up the amount of weight that I'm doing? Can I up the amount of reps that I'm doing? Can I maybe, shave a minute off of my rest time, or add in one more set before I finish? And it's good for you to have those ideas in your head, so that if you are trying to design a program for yourself outside of class, you have those tools, super useful tools. And of course, if it still feels really too stressful to try and build those programs for yourself and track those, weights and improvements for yourself, obviously that's when working with a trainer can also be super useful. So, if you're ever taking this class and going, man, I really wish I had someone to help me with this, then shoot me a message. I have rates. I have monthly rates for remote coaching. Obviously everything's remote right now, but even before the pandemic, the majority of my personal training clients were remote clients. But I love doing one-on-one work with people as well. And, sometimes we need that external voice. We need that external accountability buddy. And I am always happy to be that person, that voice, that buddy for you in your fitness work. So if that is ever something you're thinking about when you're here taking class, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to do a consultation and see whether we feel like it would be a good fit. All right, we are coming into our final set. Holy cow. All right. So last time, forgot about squats. So let's make this our best time. Again, checking in on that form, checking in on the core. It's engaged. I'm not letting this heavy weight pull my torso any more forward than I intend it to go. I am making sure that my knees are going straight over my feet, not caving in at any point. Oh yeah. Woo! Feeling some good engagement in the legs. Holy cow. Let me tell you, when we get to stretches, you know what I'm going to be doing for us. Because you know how much I love that quad stretch. And we'll probably do a twist, a nice back twist as well, I think. But here we are, final run through. So make sure that you are just as focused on your form here in the final countdown as you were at the very beginning, okay? If you have increased the number of reps or increased the amount of weight that you're using, awesome. If you are still doing the same number of reps and using the same amount of weight, awesome. At the end of the day, we don't have to compete with anybody. We are in our homes, and we do not have to worry about the super buff person in the corner just deadlifting insane, deadlifting the size of a Dwayne The Rock Johnson of weight. That's a lot of weight. We can really just focus in on our own bodies and our own needs for them. And, that's not how everybody likes to exercise. And I have tremendous empathy for the people who do get that extra energy from being, in a gym setting and around people, or in an in-person class setting. It's a hard time right now when that is the way that you prefer to exercise. But there are also so many people out there who get turned off of exercise because of the cultures that they find in gyms, because it can feel like a more judgmental space. It can feel like a space that is incredibly hostile to body types that don't fit a Marvel superhero mold, and having the ability to do this work here alone in our homes without having to worry about anything except our own process can be incredibly freeing for people. And it's one of the things I love the most about doing these streams is just the additional accessibility of a class like this, when it's no longer tied to a specific physical location, when it is something that you can do anywhere, and you can do any time that you can make this stream, or at any other time, because the VODs are going up on YouTube. So, these last few months have been incredibly hard in a lot of ways, but I am so grateful that I've gotten the chance to start building this channel up with all y'all and really getting some good streams going, getting some good classes going, so much more stuff in the pipeline, and I am so excited to show it to you. All right, we're doing our last set of the split squat, so hopefully you have been remembering to switch sides each time, switch which leg is forward and which leg is backward, because otherwise you're gonna have like one super Popeye leg and one leg that's like, what's going on? Why do you not love me? So whenever we're doing this stuff, especially, if we're deliberately doing something that does one side at a time, or if, as with like the hammer curls, if you wanted to do one side at a time so you knew you were using the same amount of weight on each side, just always make sure that you remember which leg you've already done. And that you have to remember it through 8 minutes of other activity before you get back around to it. So, whatever approach you need to use to actually remember is fine by me, okay? Oh man, how are you feeling on those split squats? Let's talk about that form, making sure that your knee, again, not pushing forward of your toes, okay? We've got that nice double-legged lunge. It may mean that you have to take that back leg back farther than you necessarily anticipated, so that when you come down into this lunge, the knee is closer to straight up and down, okay? Woo, all right, oh my goodness. Here we are, my friends. It is the last time, the last exercise. One last time for dumbbell presses, using our books, or using a bigger, heavier thing that we are hefting above us. In all cases, we've just got this nice, sturdy stance below us. Again, core's engaged, always engaged, so it's preventing any other parts of my body from moving out of alignment. So without my core engaged, as I push this up, I can extend my back a little bit, my butt starts going around a little bit, and again, all of that sets us up for potential injury. So as soon as my core is engaged, the only things that are moving are my arms. Everything else is nice and stable and straight, okay? And if the core engagement isn't enough, engage those glutes as well. And there you just have a powerhouse. It's managing all of this area, all of these different little joints and curvy bone bits that want to move around in lots of different directions, and it's keeping them all in line so that you can be doing these exercises in the most healthy way possible. Oh, all right, we're gonna let the timer run all the way out, but I'm willing to bet that most of you are done with your reps, so congratulations. Woo! Yeah, just flex it yourself a little bit. Enjoy the muscles, enjoy the look of it, okay? And when the timer goes off in less than 10 seconds, we are going to make sure that we've drained our water bottles. I certainly have. Holy crow, I need to drink more water today. Yeah! All right, and it's gonna be stretch time now. Stretch bottom of both feet. I'm not sure what that is referring to, but we are going into the stretch portion of class. So hopefully, perhaps the answer will come out of that. So congratulations, everybody. We are done with our weightlifting. So let's just do a little bit of stretching. Let's come down to our mats. We're gonna do my favorite stretch. For anyone who's been in class for a while, it's awesome quad stretch, and we've done a lot of squats today, a lot of weighted squats, so we could definitely use some quad stretching. So for the working leg, what I would consider to be the working leg here, I'm going to fold it completely in. I've got the heel on the outside of my body, and I'm going to pull that heel as close to the outside of this hip as possible, okay? My other leg is just sort of folding outwards. I've got the foot up against this knee, but it's not really doing anything. The main thing is not letting your knee come off the ground as you move yourself back into the stretch, okay? This knee stays on the ground the whole time. And now we're just going to move our bodies backwards just far enough to where we feel really intense stretch along the top of our quads. So if that's here, awesome, stay there. If that's here, awesome, stay here. Or maybe you do have the flexibility that you can come all the way down to the floor. Whatever works for you. So I've got that knee on the floor, this heel's up against my hip, and I just feel a nice intense stretch all along the top of my quad. And we're gonna lie here, and we're gonna take 4 deep breaths. And each time you exhale, I want you to try to sink just a little bit more deeply into the stretch. Not pushing ourselves so far that we feel like we're actually hurting ourselves, okay? And you can differentiate that between, the pain of this is an awesome stretch and the pain of I am about to hurt myself, okay? They are different sensations, and it is really important that you be able to differentiate between them, okay? Oh, so let's just take 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right. Let us slowly and not very gracefully push ourselves back up to seated. Don't move this leg under its own steam. Take your hands, one hand on the knee, one hand on the ankle. Unfold the leg, okay? So I'm doing that with my hands, not using the muscles of my leg. And we're just gonna extend our legs out straight in front of us. Let's shake those knees out a little bit. And then because your ankle gets a little bit crunched in that position, let's just stretch out the ankles a little bit. So flex the feet and point and flex and point. And then let's roll the ankles first in one direction and then in the other direction. All right. And now we're going to do this on the other side. Okay, so all those same form notes. Got that heel up against my hip. You can't see it on this side, obviously. Don't let that knee, that working knee, come up off the ground. Okay, so If you can get to here, just fine. But as soon as you come down to here, that knee starts coming up, then you can't go down quite that far yet, okay? So always just pay attention to what your body's telling you. Oh man. Yeah, this will forever be one of my favorite stretches. I think it is one of the stretches that I have in my repertoire that makes the most effective use of gravity as an aid to the stretch, you know, so that we don't have the same worry of the muscles sort of freaking out and trying to tighten as we're moving into the stretch, or of, you know, trying to dead weight part of our body, but now we're like clenching our neck and not letting our head roam around. And this stretch just makes it so easy to get a nice, wonderful stretch. So let's take those 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. And now carefully back up. Remember, take the hands to unfold the leg. All right, both legs extended in front of you. Shake those knees out a little bit. Flex the feet and point and flex and point and circle the ankles. First one direction and then the other direction. All right, now we're gonna come back down onto our backs. Let's hug our knees into our chests a little bit. Just rock back and forth in this position. You know, taking some nice deep breaths. Each time you exhale, see if you can get those knees in a little bit closer. And now we're gonna do a nice big twisty stretch. So I'm gonna let one leg come and extend all the way out on the ground. All right, so it's nice and straight on the ground. I'm going to take this other leg and pull it across my body like this. I'm trying to keep my shoulders flat on the ground, all right, not letting them come up. So one way that we can help that is to look in the opposite direction of the knee that we've pulled across our body, okay? So if I've pulled my left knee across my body, I'm going to look away from that knee, okay? And to make it easier, if your left knee is crossed, then you are looking towards your left shoulder, okay? And vice versa. And we're going to take those 4 deep breaths again. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. You can look that head back up towards the ceiling. Bring that knee back into your chest. Have the other knee join. Rock back and forth a little bit. And then extend that other leg out along the ground. Bring your other knee across your body. Ooh, maybe you feel a small chiropractic adjustment. Man, I miss my chiropractor. And we're looking away from the knee that we've crossed. And we're keeping our shoulders flat on the ground. And we are going to take those 4 deep breaths again. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2.
That's 3. And 4. All right, look back up at the ceiling. Bring that knee back in, other knee to meet it. Rock back and forth a little bit. Take your index fingers, hook them around your big toes. Just happy baby it out. This is one of my favorite yoga positions. It's just kind of fun. All right, and then just extend your body really just as long as you can make it. So legs as straight as they can go, arms above your head as straight as they can go. And I want you to really just pull in opposite directions. You're pulling as far as you can go. Go, go, go. And then relax. And then again, pulling, just trying to pull my body in half using nothing but sheer will. And relax. All right. That, I would say, is that. Yeah. Oh, good job, my friends. Another awesome strength training class. Woo, what a nice way to end Friday to send us into our weekend. Hopefully, we have a weekend coming up. I'm getting some fascinating, like, small bits of sun on my face. The seasons are changing, my friends. I can tell. I can see them changing. So hopefully soon I'll have a better lighting setup so that I don't have to rely on the sunlight that will soon not be here at 7:14 at night. But we'll enjoy it while it lasts. All right, my dears. We've got one more class this week. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Time is the weekend kickoff, which is a nice strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. That'll be the last class for this week, and then we'll start the schedule again next week, Tuesday. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Facebook and Insta at Blanche Case Fitness, Twitter at Blanche C Fitness. You can find Blanche Case Fitness on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel. I upload the VODs from the stream there, and there's going to be a bunch of other content going up over the coming months. Stretching sequences, warm-up sequences, form videos for different exercises that we do frequently in class, that sort of thing. So it'll be a really great resource for your workouts. And if you enjoyed yourself and feel financially able to throw me a donation, I do have a Ko-Fi account at Blanche Case Fitness. Donations always appreciated, never required. And if you enjoyed yourself and want to keep coming to more classes and help me grow this channel, then please consider following the channel. I had one new follower today, and I appreciate that. And let's keep doing it. Let's keep this show on the road. So enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Have a great weekend, and maybe I will see some of you back here tomorrow morning. Mwah! Have a great night.